Have you ever wondered how the complex history of Israel and Gaza began? As we delve into the annals of time, we discover a region steeped in ancient history, a land at the crossroads of three continents: Asia, Africa, and Europe. Israel and Gaza, a region of strategic importance, has seen the rise and fall of diverse civilizations, each leaving its indelible imprint on the sands of time. From the ancient Canaanites to the Babylonians, from the Romans to the Ottomans, this land has been a stage for the grand spectacle of human history. The ancient walls of Jerusalem whisper tales of kings and prophets, conquests and revolts, peace and turmoil. The dunes of Gaza echo with the stories of traders and warriors, civilizations born and civilizations lost. This history, intricate and multifaceted, shapes the region we see today. The history of Israel and Gaza is a tapestry of cultures, each leaving its mark and shaping the region we know today. The modern story of Israel and Gaza starts at the dawn of the 20th century. At this time, the land we now know as Israel was part of the Ottoman Empire, but the winds of change were in the air. The roots of modern Israel lie in the Balfour Declaration of 1917, a letter from British Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour to Walter Rothschild, a leader of the British Jewish community. In it, Balfour expressed Britain's support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. This was a significant milestone, but the road to the birth of a nation was far from smooth. Following the First World War, Britain took over the administration of Palestine through a League of Nations mandate. The British Mandate of Palestine, as it was known, was a period of significant change. Jewish immigration to the region, which had begun in the late 19th century, increased dramatically under British rule. This was driven by the rise of Zionism, a nationalist movement advocating for the return of the Jewish people to their ancestral homeland. However, the influx of Jewish immigrants was met with resistance from the Arab Palestinians who were already residing in the region. They viewed this as an encroachment on their lands and rights, leading to rising tensions. These tensions frequently erupted into violence, as both sides held deep-seated claims to the land. The British, caught between the two, attempted to appease both parties, but their efforts often fell short. The Jewish people felt the British were restricting their immigration and the establishment of a Jewish state, while the Arab Palestinians felt their political and civil rights were being undermined. The interplay of these complex factors during the British Mandate period laid the groundwork for the future Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The seeds of conflict were sown, and the stage was set for further escalation. The year 1948 marked a turning point in the history of Israel and Gaza. In the aftermath of World War II, the United Nations proposed a partition plan for the British Mandate of Palestine. This plan aimed to divide the land into two separate states, one Jewish and one Arab, with Jerusalem under international administration. The Jewish community accepted the plan, seeing it as a crucial step towards the establishment of a Jewish homeland. However, this plan was rejected by the Arab community, who believed it to be an unfair division of land. On May 14, 1948, Israel declared its independence, marking the birth of the State of Israel. The declaration was met with immediate opposition from neighboring Arab nations. The very next day, the First Arab-Israeli War, also known as the War of Independence, broke out. Egypt, Syria, Jordan, and Iraq joined forces in an attempt to prevent the formation of the Jewish state. This war was a turbulent time for the region. It was characterized by intense fighting, displacement of populations, and political upheaval. The war ended in 1949 with armistice agreements between Israel and Egypt, Lebanon, Jordan, and Syria. The State of Israel maintained its existence, but the borders were markedly different from those proposed in the UN partition plan. The aftermath of the First Arab-Israeli War had significant implications for both Israel and Gaza. The war resulted in an estimated 750,000 Palestinian Arabs becoming refugees. Israel took control of significant territories, including West Jerusalem, and areas that would later become known as the West Bank. The Gaza Strip fell under Egyptian control. The war left the region in a state of division. The dream of a Jewish homeland had been realized with the formation of Israel, but at a great cost. The Palestinian Arab community found themselves displaced and stateless, their aspirations for an independent state unfulfilled. This period in history set the stage for the ongoing conflict that continues to shape the region today. The aftermath of the war left the region divided and tensions high. Fast forward to 1967, a year that would further define the contours of the Israel-Gaza conflict. Known as the Six-Day War, it was a pivotal moment in the Middle East, altering the map and the balance of power in the region. The Six-Day War began on June 5th and ended on June 10th. The lead actors in this military drama were Israel on one side and Egypt, Syria, and Jordan on the other. The conflict was swift, with Israel capturing the Gaza Strip and the Sinai Peninsula from Egypt, the West Bank, including East Jerusalem from Jordan, and the Golan Heights from Syria. These territorial gains were significant. In the blink of an eye, Israel had effectively tripled its size. But more than just land, Israel had also gained control over a large number of Palestinians who lived in these territories. The aftermath of the Six-Day War was marked by a new reality. Israel found itself an occupying power, governing over a large Palestinian population. This occupation brought with it new challenges and complexities. It intensified the Israel-Gaza conflict, sowing the seeds for an ongoing struggle over land, identity, and sovereignty. The international community responded with United Nations Security Council Resolution 242, which called for Israel's withdrawal from territories occupied in the war in return for all states in the area, recognizing Israel's right to live in peace within secure and recognized boundaries. However, the interpretation of this resolution has been a matter of ongoing dispute. The Six-Day War also sparked a shift in Palestinian nationalism. With Arab states unable to secure a decisive military victory, many Palestinians felt the onus was on them to fight for their own statehood. This led to the rise of various Palestinian political and militant groups, adding another layer to the complex fabric of the Israel-Gaza conflict. The Six-Day War marked a significant shift in the Israel-Gaza conflict, with consequences that are still felt today. The war's legacy continues to shape the dynamics of the region, influencing politics, diplomacy, and the lives of millions of people. The decades that followed the Six-Day War have seen a cycle of conflict and attempts at peace. The 80s and 90s were particularly significant, marked by the historical Oslo Accords. These accords, signed in the early 90s, were a series of peace agreements between Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization. The hope was to end the ongoing conflict and to lay the groundwork for a Palestinian self-government. However, the road to peace has never been easy. The accords were marred by difficulties and controversies, and their implementation was fraught with hurdles, leading to a resurgence of conflict on both sides. This period also saw the emergence of the Intifadas, or uprisings, a series of Palestinian protests and rebellions against Israeli occupation. The first Intifada began in the late 80s and the second in the early years of the new millennium. These uprisings were marked by widespread protests, strikes, and unfortunately violence, bringing the issue to the forefront of global consciousness. The new millennium has seen further attempts at peace negotiations, but these have often been overshadowed by ongoing tensions and sporadic outbreaks of violence. The situation has been further complicated by geopolitical shifts, changes in leadership, and the broader regional dynamics of the Middle East. In recent years, the situation has remained complex and challenging. While there have been periods of relative calm and steps towards peace, these have often been followed by renewed tensions and conflict. It's important to remember that behind these broad historical strokes are countless personal stories. Stories of individuals and communities, of dreams and struggles, of hopes and fears. As we navigate the complexities of this issue, we must not lose sight of the human dimension, the lived experiences of those on the ground. Today, the history of Israel and Gaza continues to unfold, marked by moments of hope and periods of despair. As we look to the future, it is our collective hope that a peaceful resolution can be found, one that respects the rights, aspirations, and security of all involved. The history of Israel and Gaza is complex and fraught with conflict, but it also has moments of cooperation and shared humanity. From the birth of modern Israel to the formation of Israel and the First Arab-Israeli War, the intricacies of this history are as deep as they are wide. The Six-Day War and its aftermath marked pivotal moments, changing the course of the region's history forever. In recent decades, the situation has evolved further with new challenges and realities, painting a picture of a region caught in a cycle of conflict. Yet within this tumultuous backdrop, there have been glimmers of shared humanity and cooperation, reminding us that the narrative is far from one-sided. The history of Israel and Gaza is not a simple tale of one against the other. It's a dynamic, ongoing story shaped by its past, but not confined to it. As we strive to understand this complex history, let us remember that the future holds the potential for change and reconciliation.